Okay, so we're back and, diving once again into Dante's Inferno.
Picking up right where we left off.
Yeah, we left Dante and Virgilio in a bit of a predicament at the close of Canto VIII.
Quite a predicament, you might say.
Right up against the walls of the city of Dyke
Mm.
and, met by this rather unwelcoming group of demons.
Not exactly a welcoming committee.
And not at all, no slamming the gates shut in their faces.
Talk about a tense cliffhanger.
Yeah, a real sense of, what's going to happen next.
Definitely leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, for sure. And we see that Virgilio is, visibly concerned.
For the first time, really shaken.
Yeah, he seems almost helpless for a moment.
Which is a stark contrast to his composure up to this point.
Exactly. He's always been, the voice of reason, the guide.
The steady hand in the darkness.
Yeah, and now he's talking about needing divine help to move forward.
Anticipating some kind of intervention.
It really underscores the gravity of the situation they're in.
And sets the stage for the drama that unfolds in Canto IX.
So as we jump into this new canto, what really struck me was the sudden appearance of the Furies.
Oh, absolutely. Talk about an unexpected escalation.
Yeah, these figures straight out of Greek mythology just suddenly appear on the scene.
Dante's weaving in elements from different traditions right from the start.
Yeah, and not just any mythological figures, but the Furies, these embodiments of rage and vengeance.
Known for their relentless pursuit.
And they immediately threaten Dante in the most terrifying way imaginable.
By calling upon Medusa to turn him to stone.
Yeah, literally petrify him with fear.
A fate worse than death in many ways.
Absolutely. And it's here that we see another side of Virgilio.
More than just the guide, now he's a protector.
Yeah, without hesitation, he shields Dante,
Turning him away from Medusa's gaze.
covering his eyes.
A very visceral and symbolic gesture.
It really shows the depth of his care for Dante.
He's not just leading him through hell, he's actively safeguarding him.
Yeah, protecting him from these psychological and spiritual threats as well.
It's a reminder that even in the face of immense fear, sometimes we need someone to guide us.
To show us where to look, or in this case, where not to look.
To protect us from the things that might paralyze us with fear.
Exactly, and just when you think the situation can't get any more intense,
It takes another dramatic turn.
this incredibly powerful sound erupts.
Like an earthquake shaking the very foundations of hell.
Yeah, it heralds the arrival of a heavenly messenger.
A divine being sent to intervene.
And the contrast between the demons and this messenger is so striking.
The demons who had been so defiant, so powerful.
Yeah, they're completely helpless against this messenger.
Who effortlessly opens the gates of Dite.
With just a touch.
A demonstration of power beyond anything we've seen so far.
It really highlights the limitations of earthly and even infernal power.
Against divine will.
Yeah, and once inside the city, Dante and Virgilio descend into the sixth circle.
Where they encounter the heretic.
Punished in these flaming tombs.
Pretty gruesome image.
Open graves engulfed in flames.
With the sounds of suffering echoing from within.
Dante doesn't shy away from the visceral details.
And among those suffering are Epicurus and his followers.
Now, it's important to remember that in Dante's time, Epicurus was often associated with denying the soul's immortality.
Seen as advocating for a purely materialistic view of the world.
And Dante is making a clear theological point here.
By placing those who held such beliefs in this circle of hell.
It underscores the seriousness with which he viewed matters of faith and the afterlife.
The consequences of rejecting certain beliefs.
Yeah, and as we're moving through this canto, it's easy to get caught up in the narrative.
The action, the drama, the vivid imagery.
But we wanted to take a step back and really think about what we can learn from all of this.
What enduring lessons can we extract from Dante's journey?
Because it's not just a historical or literary adventure.
It's a story about facing challenges, confronting fears, and grappling with fundamental questions about existence.
And in many ways, Dante's path mirrors the journeys we all take in our own lives.
Whether we're confronting our own inner demons or navigating difficult choices.
We all face obstacles and have to make decisions about what we believe in.
And Dante's journey provides a framework for thinking about those challenges.
Now, one thing that really stands out in this canto is the blending of different traditions.
Yeah, the appearance of the Furies and Medusa from Greek mythology alongside this very Christian image of the heavenly messenger.
It's a fascinating fusion of cultural and religious elements.
It suggests a kind of interconnectedness between different belief systems.
And it also points to Dante's broader worldview.
He's not limiting himself to a single perspective.
He's drawing from multiple sources to explore these universal themes.
And he's actually encouraging us to look beyond the surface of the narrative.
He famously writes, "O you who have sound intellects, consider the teaching that is hidden behind the veil of these strange verses.
He's inviting us to dig deeper
To look for the symbolic meanings embedded within the story.
and to think about how those meanings might resonate in our own lives.
So let's take the example of Virgilio shielding Dante from Medusa.
On a literal level, it's an act of protection.
But Dante suggests that Medusa represents something more than just a mythological monster.
She symbolizes something that can paralyze us.
Perhaps despair or a kind of spiritual stagnation.
The things that can turn us to stone emotionally or spiritually.
And the wise guide, in this case Virgilio, helps us to avert our gaze from those things.
To protect us from the forces that might hinder our growth.
So if we think about it in a modern context, what are some of the Medusas we might encounter in our own lives?
What are the things that threaten to petrify us with fear or keep us stuck in old ways of thinking?
I think it could be anything that feeds negativity and despair.
The constant barrage of bad news.
The comparison game on social media.
The pressure to conform.
Even clinging to outdated beliefs that no longer serve us.
These are all things that can hold us back.
Prevent us from moving forward.
And the canto also really highlights the limitations of human reason.
Virgilio, the embodiment of reason, is unable to open the gates of Dante on his own.
He needs divine intervention.
It's a reminder that our intellect, while incredibly valuable, isn't always enough.
There are times when we need to rely on something beyond ourselves.
Whether it's faith intuition or simply being open to unexpected help.
And have you ever experienced a situation where you were stuck?
Yeah, where logic alone wasn't enough to get you through.
You keep running into the same wall over and over again.
Definitely. I think we've all been there.
And sometimes the solution comes from a place you weren't expecting.
Yeah, a moment of insight or inspiration.
Or help from an unexpected source.
And then we have the arrival of the heavenly messenger.
Resolving a seemingly impossible situation with effortless ease.
It speaks to the power of hope and belief.
Even in the face of adversity.
That even when things seem bleak, there's always the possibility of a breakthrough.
And we can't overlook the lesson from the punishment of the Epicureans.
Dante's condemnation of their materialistic worldview.
It prompts us to examine our own values.
What are we prioritizing in our lives?
Are we solely focused on material gain and immediate gratification?
Or are we cultivating a sense of meaning and purpose that extends beyond the material?
Dante suggests that a purely materialistic focus can lead to a kind of spiritual emptiness.
And that there's more to life than just accumulating possessions.
It's a call to consider the deeper implications of our choices.
And speaking of guidance, we can't forget the importance of having people in our lives who can offer wisdom and support.
Just like Virgilio guiding Dante.
Yeah, those mentors, advisors, friends who can help us to navigate difficult situations.
We can offer a different perspective.
And protect us from harmful influences.
They play a vital role in our growth and development.
And finally, the swift defeat of the demons by the heavenly messenger.
It reminds us that sometimes resistance is futile.
Especially when we're resisting a change that ultimately might be for the best.
Have you ever found yourself fighting against something?
Only to realize later that it was the right path all along.
Definitely. It's like swimming upstream.
You exhaust yourself fighting the current.
When you could be letting it carry you forward.
Exactly. And we can't forget Dante's direct invitation to us as readers.
To look beyond the surface of his words.
To engage in deep thinking and critical analysis.
To question assumptions and search for deeper meaning.
Especially in today's world where we're constantly bombarded with information.
It's more important than ever to be discerning.
To think critically about the narratives we're presented with.
And to be willing to challenge our own beliefs.
So having taken this deep dive into Canto IX,
what would you say is the key takeaway for our listeners?
As they continue on their own life journeys?
I think the central lesson is this.
We're all going to face challenges and obstacles.
Moments that feel like we're trapped outside the walls of Dante.
Facing seemingly impossible odds.
And despair might tempt us to give up.
To become paralyzed by fear.
But those moments of crisis don't have to be the end.
By persevering, by maintaining hope.
By being open to guidance and unexpected help.
We can find a way through.
And those challenges can actually lead us to greater understanding.
And a deeper sense of purpose.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, as you reflect on Dante's experience in this canto,
think about a time in your own life when you faced a seemingly insurmountable obstacle.
What inner resources or unexpected support helped you to overcome it?
What deeper understanding emerged from that experience?
Because often it's in those moments of apparent blockage
that we discover hidden strengths and learn the most profound lessons about ourselves.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.